Part 89. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 882. Battleships flew in from the sky one after another and stopped in front of the Demon Palace. It was extremely spectacular. Please get off the boat, this is our heavenly Demon Palace. Zhang Linghuo spoke loudly. The Demon Palace, the demonic energy is indeed boiling. This place, the aura of the devil has even slowed down the movement of my spiritual power. Not only is the demonic chi of the heavenly Demon Palace itself, but more importantly, the terrifying ultimate grimoire is also here. Everyone spoke one after another. They all got off the spaceship and walked towards the Demon Palace. Eh? Damn dog, why are you so yellow? Suddenly, Wu Dade looked at the big black dog in surprise. Just after landing, the big black dog, its coat color changed completely. The black hair turned into yellow hair. Ignorant pet, what do you know? If this emperor appears in his true form, he will scare the three little shrimps here to death. The big yellow dog is very confident. Quickly report to the three masters, the geniuses from the major families in the true ancestor realm are here to meet you. Seeing that people from all the ancient immortal clans had arrived, someone from the heavenly demon palace shouted. Please wait at the edge of Jingmo Lake. At the same time, Zhang Lingmuo, the elder of the heavenly demon palace, appeared and led everyone into the heavenly demon palace and all the way to the Jingmo Lake. Everyone was stunned when they felt the aura coming from the demonic lake. This kind of smell makes people want to kneel down. Facing this lake, I actually feel more awesome than facing the statue of the ultimate ancestor. What is there in this terrifying lake? It's so scary. A group of young talents were all very surprised. Even the powerful spiritual kings from several major families looked solemn. As expected of someone from the Grey Mist Sea, has he surpassed the ultimate? Ji Xiancheng, the spiritual king of the Ji family, murmured. We are in the right place. Obtaining the Grey Mist method here will benefit the entire family. Chang Sun Shi, the spiritual king of the Chang Sun clan, had a hint of excitement in his eyes. Haha, the genius of my family, will definitely get opportunities for the family. The Ning family's spiritual king, an old woman with a green crutch, spoke secretly. Everyone is waiting. What a powerful aura. Ji Taixuan couldn't help but sigh. Although it is very strong, this kind of magic is not pure. It is big but not strong, high and not stable, it seems that it does not have much value. Gongya opened her mouth and looked at Xianning. Xianning's big eyes were a little disappointed and she said. I thought it was a good book, a waste of time. If I had known I wouldn't have come, I could have continued to learn a lot of things just by staying in the yard. With that said, she walked to a pavilion by the lake, sat down, and read the book 3 years of demonic cultivation and 5 years of invincibility. Seeing Xianning acting like this, Gongya instantly understood. It seemed that this so-called ultimate magic book in the demonic lake, was not worth mentioning at all. Immediately, she and Wu Dade also sat down. Sister Gongya, Ji Kink and Ji Taixuan followed without hesitation. As for the big yellow dog, its nose was constantly sniffing at this moment. The dog's eyes were filled with excitement and he said. The Emperor's Dao fruit, is also here. This bitch, this unloyal Daokyo abandoned me and came to the ancestral world alone. This time, I am finally going to take off. The dog's eyes were full of expectations. 3 adults are here. Soon, a loud shout sounded. I saw a group of people coming from the side of Jingmo Lake. The leaders were clearly 3 young men and women. They have an extraordinary temperament and exude a powerful aura, but they give people a feeling of indifference like rocks, as if their lives have been alienated. Yu Weiken, the master of the heavenly demon palace, followed them cautiously. Behind the 3 people, there were 2 more. Surprisingly, they are Ao Wushuan and Song Ji Yuan. These three are the supreme beings from the Grey Mist Sea, Lord Ji Qianming, Lord Lufei, and Lord Yafei. Yu Weikan spoke loudly, introduced, and immediately said, "Why don't you kneel down and worship?" Hearing this, everyone in the 9 ancient immortal clans knelt down in unison. Ning Zayasi of the Ning family, pay homage to the 3 adults. My eldest grandson Nanhuo, is willing to go through fire and water for these 3 adults. Ji Fangji of the Ji family, pays homage to the 3 supreme masters. Many geniuses spoke one after another, their expressions were very excited, their faces were full of hope, and their eyes were full of enthusiasm. Like a devout believer looking at the high gods. Look up. Ji Qianming and the other 3 couldn't help but smile with satisfaction at this moment. Haha, these are the geniuses of the true ancestor realm. They are too weak. Lufei disdains that the 3 of them are already strong men at the pinnacle of the 8th realm, and can be called quasi-spiritual kings. Nowadays, the supreme bridge in Tianyuan can only allow cultivators below the spirit king level to pass through. But the geniuses of the so-called powerful clans in the true ancestor realm in front of them are far inferior to them. There isn't even an 8th level expert. The adults over there are too worried. We only need to appear in this world, and they will worship us. Why use force to conquer us? Yafei smiled and said, I really doubt that there has really been an end of 10,000 paths in this world. Have there been 10 gods and 2 evil spirits? Those who once shook the world, fought unyieldingly, and even made the Grey Mist Sea fearful to this day, were they born from this weak soil? Ji Qianming said calmly. That's just right. It seems that this world is weaker than we thought. There's not a single person with any backbone. As he spoke, he glanced around casually, but suddenly, he frowned. Because, he discovered that behind the kneeling people, in a pavilion, there were actually a few young people sitting there casually, as if chatting, not paying attention at all. Who is that? He suddenly asked in a cold voice. How dare you be so rude? Seeing the adults from Grey Mist Sea asking questions, everyone immediately turned their heads and looked into the pavilion. Who are these people? How dare you not kneel down when you meet the Lord of Grey Mist Sea? Are you looking for death? You still dare to chat? Does this mean you don't take the 3 adults seriously? Haha, these people are dead. Everyone spoke one after another. And Ji Fangruo, who was kneeling on the ground, even scolded at this moment. Ji Kink, you bastard who doesn't know etiquette, why don't you come over and salute? Do you want to disgrace the Ji family? Hearing this, Ji Kink looked a little angry and said. Kneel down if you want, I won't kneel down. Seeing this, Ji Fang's eyes flashed with the coldness of a successful plot. She immediately spoke to Ji Qianming and others, saying. Several adults, Ji Kink, the bastard of my Ji family, doesn't know etiquette. Please, please, please punish me, regardless of life or death. Kill with a borrowed knife. Just in time, let Ji Kink offend Ji Qianming and others, and she eliminated an enemy without having to take action. Even Ji Xiancheng, the spiritual king of the Ji family, immediately said. You actually dare to ruin the family plan. From today on, you are not worthy of being a member of the Ji family. After speaking, he looked at Ji Qianming and others and said. The adults calm down, I will kill them now to apologize to the adults. This time, the Ji family was determined to win the Grey Mist Law and would never allow anyone to destroy it, so, he did not hesitate to kill Ji Kink and others. However, Ji Qianming smiled coldly at this moment and said. No need. It's such a pity to let you kill me even though I'm here. Hearing this, Ji Xiancheng frowned slightly. What does this adult mean? Do you want to see a grimoire that transcends the ultimate? Ji Qianming continued to speak. As he spoke, his body floated in the air and his hands formed seals. Following his summons, the water in the Jingmo Lake boiled instantly, as if something shocking was about to appear. Hearing this, everyone was instantly surprised. The ultimate grimoire. It is filled with the road beyond the ultimate. Even if the ultimate person in the temple of sacrifice comes, we must worship him. Great, we have a great opportunity. For a moment, everyone was extremely excited, and they looked feverishly into the demonic lake. Boom! There was a loud noise, and the big wave split, and a black book appeared above the Jingmo Lake. The black book suddenly turned gently at this moment. The demonic realm is shrouded, and all living creatures will become specimens in the grimoire. Ji Qianming whispered. In an instant, countless black magic lights suddenly emitted from the black pages, covering everyone kneeling by the Jingmo Lake. What's going on? No, my blood, why is it seeping out of my skin? No, my internal organs are being penetrated by this magic light, it seems like it will turn into stone. In an instant, everyone in the field realized something was wrong. Why? My body is dried up, don't. A young man who was proficient in ice skills screamed in agony at this moment. His body was completely turned into a mummy, with only a pair of eyes left. He actually floated towards the black page and was absorbed by the black page. My right hand, where my magical power lies, don't. Another young man fell to the ground, his body turned into a pool of blood, and his right hand became nothing but bones. It also floated towards the page and was absorbed. In an instant, these young people were all in a state of death. Only their limbs containing supernatural powers, mana, etc. were taken away by the black pages. No. Why is that? 3 adults, we are loyal, worship you, and are willing to sacrifice everything for you, why is this? Ji Xiancheng, the spiritual king of the Ji family, spoke unwillingly at this moment. Coming here full of piety, I thought I was about to get the grey mist law, but this ended up like this. A bunch of ignorant ants. Ji Qianming floated in mid-air and sneered. You alone are worthy of receiving the Dharma of Grey Mist Sea. You can only become specimens in the grimoire. Kill all of you. The ultimate magic book will analyze the magical powers and spells mastered by the 9 ancient tribes in this world. This is the purpose. The ultimate grimoire is not just for attracting demon ancestors. It can even deprive the cultivator of his body, thereby analyzing the magical powers that the cultivator has cultivated. In this way, they can know themselves and the enemy. Once the war breaks out, in front of the Sea of Grey Mist, the true ancestor realm will be vulnerable. That's it, that's it. Ji Xiancheng was anxious at this moment and said. My lords, why are you doing this? If you want, our tribes can give you all the 9 dharma. The others also spoke hurriedly. Yes, adults, please let us go. The 9 methods were originally prepared for you. They all cried. Ji Qianming, who was floating in the air, was stunned when he heard this. Are people from the true ancestor realm so bottomless? It's like, when you were about to rape hashtag, the other person told you that she had already taken off her pants and was waiting for you. I seem to have complicated things. You overestimated the bottom line of the true ancestor realm. He was startled for a moment, but still shook his head and said. Well, the pages of the book have been opened, and I can't take them back. I'll just trouble you to die. Grey Mist Sea will remember your contribution. He said lightly. Then, turn over the fingerprints. The black demonic energy instantly formed a barrier. It shrouded all the 9 ancient tribes and turned them into a desperate demonic state, isolating them from the outside world. The 9 ancient immortal clans, all of them are going to die. When Song Jiyuan saw this scene, he couldn't help but sigh and said, hey, this is like throwing yourself into a trap. Beside him, Ao Wushuan trembled and said. I don't know if we're throwing ourselves into a trap or not, but if we don't leave, We're really throwing ourselves into a trap. As soon as he started, he noticed those people in the pavilion. Although the black dog has turned into a yellow dog, but the fat man is still the same fat man. Damn it! Withdraw, you must withdraw quickly. When no one was paying attention, he turned around and ran away. When Song Ji-yuan saw it, he was also panicked. He couldn't care about anything and hurriedly whispered, Brother Wushuan, wait for me. He ran away too. Good night. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 883. Under the aura of demonic power, a demonic domain barrier has appeared on the shore of Jingmo Lake, and the people of the 9 ancient immortal tribes have been shrouded in it. From the outside, it is no longer possible to see the scene clearly. All the demonic energy can be seen is rolling continuously, and only the misery can be heard. Yelled again and again. No. Help, 3 adults, I am your most loyal slave. I don't want to die. The people of the 9 ancient immortal clans are all in a state of death at this moment. Even a genius cannot hold on. Even the Spirit King is wailing. Isn't there a cooperative relationship between Grey Mist Sea and our 9 major families? It was us who brought you here, how could you do this? Ning Zayasi cried out sadly. He had used many life-saving things given by his family, but before the ultimate magic book, he could not be protected at all. Why do you treat us like this? Dugukai Amai fell to the ground, and the main bone and heart of his right hand broke out of his body. They were the foundation of his sword movement, but now they left his body. I don't want to die, I am a god, I still have a bright future. Ji Fang screamed miserably, she felt like a certain part of herself was going to be absorbed by the page. Suddenly, out of the corner of her eye, she saw a pavilion on one side and was shocked. Because, in that pavilion, Ji Kink, Ji Taixuan, and those devil cultivators were actually safe and sound. While the world was wailing and screaming, the little girl was still reading quietly, very attentively, as if nothing in the outside world could disturb her at all. Can they not die? At this moment, she seemed to have seen a life-saving straw, and she immediately shouted to the people in the pavilion. Help me! Kink, help me! She crawled over with difficulty. Many people around him also reacted at this moment. In the pavilion, are they okay? Can it be said that that pavilion can resist the invasion of magic light? Hurry, go over there, you can be saved over there. Immediately, Ning Zayasi, Changsun Nanhuo and others also hurriedly climbed over. Don't disturb my demon lord's study, otherwise, you will die. But Gongya spoke coldly. This pavilion belongs to everyone, this is the only place that can protect us. Do you want to monopolize it? Yes, you lowly demons, get out of here. Everyone came in droves. Gongya's face turned cold and she was about to take action. However, Xian Ning finished reading the page in her hand, stood up at this moment, and said, No, if they want to come in, just let them in. It's time for us to get ready to go out. With that said, they immediately walked out of the pavilion. Ning Zayasi and others swarmed up and rushed into the pavilion. However, the pavilion was too small to accommodate so many people, and it almost caused a stampede. Master Chang Sun, pull me, pull me. Ji Fangru screamed and fell to the ground, very close to the pavilion. Don't come here again, there's no room in this pavilion, get out. However, Changsun Nanhuo cursed angrily. You. Ji Fang felt regretful and angry. No. Why did the magic light come? Can't the pavilion protect us? However, immediately after, everyone who struggled to enter the pavilion continued to scream miserably. When Gong Yaksinning and others left the pavilion could no longer defend itself against the erosion of the magic light. No. It's not this pavilion that can resist the magic light, it's them. Ning Zayasi pointed at Xuanhuan and others. They walked out of the pavilion casually, but the magic light and energy that filled the sky could not invade even 1 foot around them. They must have treasures on them, kill them and take them away, so that we can live. Tuguchumi shouted, his right hand was broken and he was about to die. At this moment, he desperately rushed towards Gongya and others. Others are also going crazy, like a pack of evil wolves. Just now you wanted to go into the pavilion, and now you want to come out, it's so annoying. Xuanhuan was a little impatient. She suddenly raised her hand and formed a seal at will. Suddenly, multiple magic lights fell. Ning Zayasi, Tuguchumi, Changsun Nanhuo, etc. were all hit instantly. Ah! Spare my life! Geniuses from all races turned into fragments on the ground during the banquet. All destroyed. Ji Fangji, who was at the pavilion, was dumbfounded when she saw this scene. She was completely dumbfounded. What? That little girl, is so scary? Can you mobilize the power in the ultimate grimoire? It's over. Before, I actually tried to use their blood to perform the magic blood retention technique. She trembled. At the same time, the power of the magic light continued unabated, and she felt the pressure of death. She lowered her head and saw that her lower body was a bloody mess. Help me! She wailed, looked at Ji Kink and said. Sister Kink, save my life. For the sake of both of us being of the Ji family's blood, you can't just die without saving me. I am your sister, how can you bear it? Please. Even Ji Xianchang, the spiritual king of the Ji family, was struggling at this moment. Brother Taixuan, niece Kink, we all come from the same family. For the sake of family ties, please help us, give us a way to survive. However, Ji Taixuan and Ji Kink had cold expressions. Just now, these so-called tribesmen even wanted to lure the 3 people in the sea of grey mist and kill them. Now, you keep talking about family affection? However, at this time, Xining blinked, walked to Ji Fangruo's side and said. You are so lucky. You have a good sister. Your sister saved you. Will you remember this? While she was talking, there was some kind of power flowing in the ultimate grimoire, as if it could affect people's minds. Seeing Xuanhuan's big eyes, Ji Fang was a little confused and said subconsciously. I will never forget Sister Kink's great kindness, she is my savior. Seeing this, Xining smiled happily and said. Okay, you can't die, well, you're now disabled. After saying that, Xining patted Ji Fangruo, turned around and left. Sure enough, the magic light instantly stopped refining Ji Fangruo. However, her lower body has been completely melted, and she will never be able to regenerate her limbs in this life, and will only be permanently disabled. Demon Lord. Gongya flashed a trace of doubt. Even Ji Kink said. Peace of mind. But Xuanhuan stood with his hands behind his back and said calmly. Leave 1 or 2 cripples alive and let the world see the consequences of cooperating with Grey Mist Sea, this class is so lively and interesting. Besides, everyone is dead, and only Sister Kink is left, who will be suspected by the Ji family. From today on, she will be grateful to Sister Kink. Not only will the Ji family not doubt Sister Kink, but they will also trust you like never before. Hearing this, Ji Kink and others immediately understood. Ji Taixuan's eyes were filled with admiration. He didn't expect that this seemingly well-behaved little girl could actually have such a sophisticated side. She looks like a demon and a fairy at the same time. But at this moment, Xuanhuan stood with her hands behind her hands, suddenly raised her eyes, looked in the direction outside the barrier, and said. Hey, the other me seems to be here. I don't know how she is studying, if she doesn't study well. She shook her head and said. I won't be friends with her anymore. everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 884. Haha, the ultimate grimoire has absorbed countless blood, corpses, etc. In Jingmo Lake, outside the barrier, Ji Qianming and others showed satisfied smiles. After this battle, we in the Grey Mist Sea will have a clear grasp of the magical powers and methods mastered by the 9 ancient immortal clans. With this, we can study the 9 methods left by that woman and find a way to crack it. They are looking forward to it. Well, have the blood ancestor and the weapon ancestor made arrangements? Ji Qianming asked next and whispered. The demon ancestor should appear soon. If he is really stubborn, kill him. A fierce light flashed in his eyes, and there was a hint of excited anticipation. If he really kills the demon ancestor, from now on, he, Ji Qianming, will achieve supreme fame. Lu Fei nodded and said. The blood ancestors are ready. At this moment, a loud shout suddenly came. Report. An elder came quickly and said. Reporting to the 3 adults, 3 people appeared outside. One of them calls himself Demon Ancestor. Hearing this, Ji Qianming and others were overjoyed. Has the 3rd important figure finally appeared? Please. Ji Qianming shouted immediately. However, as soon as he finished speaking, there was suddenly a voice in the field. No need to invite me, I'll come by myself. Everyone turned around suddenly. Not far away, I saw 3 people approaching. These 3 people looked quite strange. A middle-aged man dressed in black, with an elegant temperament and a teacher-like appearance, with a smile on his face and a gentle manner. A bald man with demonic patterns all over his body, he was carrying a little girl on his back. The little girl was pale and grey, with a deep demonic aura. This is, the Demon King. The faces of the Lord of the Heavenly Demon Palace, Yu Weiken, Elder Zhang Lingmu and others who were standing on one side changed drastically at this moment, and they suddenly knelt down towards the bald man. Greetings to the Demon King. Greetings to the Demon King. They all shouted, and they all recognized that the bald man carrying the little girl on his back was the legendary Demon King. Tisk, little bald head, you are quite grand. Demon Ancestor Wei smiled and glanced at the bald man. But the Demon King shook his head, looked at Yu Weiken and others, and said. They are just a bunch of demons without moral integrity, but they are worthy of kneeling down and worshipping me. Get out of here! He yelled. Immediately, Yu Weiken, Zhang Lingmu and others all vomited blood, were seriously injured in an instant, and all turned pale with shock. This is suppression from the source. The Heavenly Demon King is the founding ancestor of the Heavenly Demon Palace. The methods they practice are all passed down by the Heavenly Demon King, therefore, if the Heavenly Demon King wants to kill them, all he needs to do is think about it. This is the overbearing power of magic. When Ji Qianming and Lu Fei saw this scene, their faces sank. The person who came, seemed to be evil. Look at you, how loud are you? You scared these 3 kids. But Demon Ancestor Wei smiled slightly, looked at Ji Qianming and the others, and said. 1,000-headed grey pigeons, 3-winged ferocious deer, 4-legged magic ducks, I haven't tasted them in many years, I haven't seen them in many years. Hearing this, Ji Qianming and the others were speechless. What did this guy mean? I almost let it slip, co-authored, have you tasted the taste of their 3 clans? But they still suppressed their inner displeasure and remained respectful. Ji Qianming said. You are. The man in black walked over directly and said. I am Wei, known as Demon Ancestor. Aren't you waiting for me? Hearing this, Ji Qianming and others immediately took a deep breath. Greetings to Senior Demon Ancestor. They saluted with great respect. Senior Demon Ancestor, we have come across the abyss this time just to see you and give you a big gift. Ji Qianming smiled and said. In the past, in order to find a way to continue the path ahead, you agreed to the woman who called herself the end of 10,000 paths to come to this world. However, she did not find a suitable path for you. Now, on the other side of the grey mist sea, after experiencing the golden age, all avenues have become clear. As long as you return, you will soar to the sky over there. As he spoke, he waved his hand, and the black book floating above the demonic lake immediately fell into his hands. This book, known as the Ultimate Grimoire, was the final work of a major demon cultivator on the other side of the grey mist sea. That major demon cultivator transcended the four views and had a glimpse of a deeper demon path before he died. This grimoire was formed. If this grimoire is unlocked, you can get a glimpse of the supreme demonic path. He is smiling. It can be said that for ascetics, this is indeed irresistible. The Golden Age. All roads are smooth. He even brought the ultimate grimoire to prove it. Return. Demon Ancestor smiled slightly and said. Of course I can consider it, as long as this book can satisfy me. Ji Qianming was slightly happy, but he did not immediately hand over the book to Demon Ancestor, but tentatively said. Lord Demon Ancestor, I heard that the woman at the end of 10,000 paths saved your life. Demon Ancestor Wei spread his hands and said. There are many people who have saved my life. For example, an ancestor of the four-legged demon duck clan once saved me. He smiled slightly, looked at Yafei and said, later, your ancestor, well, it tasted pretty good. Hearing this, Yafei was suddenly shocked and furious, saying, oh, it's you. Their four-legged demon duck indeed once had an extremely powerful ancestor who died inexplicably. In the end, only some of the bones were found, as if they had been gnawed and eaten. This made the four-legged demon duck clan extremely angry, but they still struggled to find the murderer. When Ji Qianming heard this, he felt relieved. If the demon ancestor was a person who valued love and justice, he would have to worry. After all, the person at the end of 10,000 paths was his savior. But since demon ancestor is also a villain who devours his benefactor, such a kind of person, who forgets his righteousness when he sees profit, how good he is. Only this kind of person can be attracted by the benefits of grey mist sea and return. He immediately smiled and said. Yafei, it's all over. Don't mention this matter again. As long as Lord Demon Ancestor is willing to return, it doesn't matter what he was eaten. When Yafei heard this, she was immediately indignant. She wanted to say that it was not your ancestor who was eaten, so of course you don't care. However, for the sake of the overall plan, it was hard for her to say anything. Even if we want to settle accounts, we have to wait until the demon ancestor returns to the Sea of Grey Mist. Immediately, Ji Qianming handed the ultimate magic book to Demon Ancestor. Demon Ancestor immediately placed the book on the table and opened it. The Demon King also put down the little girl on his back. The little girl walked over directly and sat next to the Demon Ancestor, also staring at the black book. Lord Demon Ancestor, who is this? Ji Qianming asked the Demon Ancestor. This little girl seems to be very extraordinary. Demon Ancestor said. She's just a pretty smart little girl. I brought her here to study. When Ji Qianming and others heard this, they were all a little confused. The mighty demon ancestor, a strong man of the generation, actually brought a little girl to study? At this time, demon ancestor added. You can call her Moji. Evil. Hearing these two words, Ji Qianming and others almost staggered. They jumped away in shock and looked at the little girl with some fear. The evil devil is not only famous in the true ancestor realm, but also in the Grey Mist Sea. He is also famous for being evil. During the great turmoil that year, countless powerful men from the Grey Mist Sea were killed. Now, this evil spirit, was actually brought here by the demon ancestor? What's going on? For a moment, they were a little unsure and very nervous. But at this time, the little girl glanced at them and said angrily, "Thank you for coming from the Grey Mist Sea. Don't you know that I was transformed into an evil corpse? Now I just want to kill the true ancestor realm. Otherwise, you find someone to stop the demon ancestor, and I will destroy this realm for you in the Grey Mist Sea." Ji Qianming and the others were a little confused when they heard this. This evil spirit, why does it feel a little strange? Yes, the 10 deities and the 2 villains are all evil corpses, this is absolutely true. We don't need to be too nervous. Lu Fei whispered. Ji Qianming also nodded and said immediately, "No need to worry about it. The main purpose of their coming here was to allow Demon Ancestor and others to return to the Grey Mist Sea. The rest, he didn't want to cause any complications." The evil corpse shook his head and said, "You are quite timid too." After saying that, she lowered her head to read and said, "Well, these questions seem quite difficult." Demon Ancestor also frowned and said, "It's quite difficult, can you do it?" Next to him, the Demon King looked at the 2 bosses nervously. He is also planning to copy the answers. After all, this ultimate magic book is just like the previous secret scrolls of the Demon Lord. As long as you give the correct answer, you will get many secrets of the supreme magic. Good night. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 885. The Shore of Jingmo Lake. In the pavilion, it was extremely quiet at the moment. Ji Qianming and Lu Fei were waiting on the side. Demon Ancestor and Demon Fierce are now starting to study the topic. I know this question. Look, the road to the rules of the devil, the 13 changes when seeing ghosts, isn't this a score-giving question? Gradually, the Demon Ancestor began to growl. This question is also very simple. I asked the 3 souls and 7 souls after entering the Dao Jingdi, how to plant the demon seed, so that they can understand their mind and nature. I know the answer. The devil also spoke. In this way, you write the next 50 questions, and I write the first 50 questions. After we finish writing, we will copy it into the ultimate magic book together. By then, we will get all the mental skills in the magic book. Demon Ancestor suggested. Demonic Evil Corpse also nodded and said, "Then you should do the questions faster and don't delay." Immediately, the 2 of them quickly flipped through the books. As they read, their demonic aura evolved, presenting solutions to the problems one after another. Next to him, the Demon King was extremely nervous, recording carefully. These are all the answers. At this moment, Ji Qianming was a little confused. How could these 2 people write so fast? You must know that this ultimate magic book was the life work of a powerful magician in the Sea of Grey Mist. The great cultivator of the demonic path had a glimpse of the extremely profound true path of the demonic path, and through the 100 questions in this grimoire, he left it for future generations. However, in the entire Sea of Grey Fog, no one can fully answer these 100 questions. Because the level that great demon cultivator has reached is difficult for anyone to reach, and what he saw before his death was even more unfathomable. Many demon cultivators in the Grey Fog Sea have tried it. So far, no more than 5 questions have been answered, and all of them have become secrets that are not told. He didn't bring this book in the hope that Demon Ancestor could unlock it, but because this book can arouse the curiosity of the Demon Ancestor. If he wants to find the answer in the book, the Demon Ancestor can only return to the Sea of Grey Mist. For an existence of Demon Ancestor's level, only the way forward can attract him. But now at this speed, it seems like they are very good at it. Could it be that Demon Ancestor and Demon Fierce are so stunningly talented and beautiful? The problem that countless experts in the Grey Mist Sea cannot solve is actually like child's play in their eyes. He is a little worried. Time flies. The first 50 questions have been written. Demon Ancestor laughed loudly and said, "Have you finished the last 50 questions?" The little girl nodded and said, "Certainly. Come on, write the answer." Suddenly, they opened the black pages. Look at the solution to the first question, the diagram of the movement of demonic energy. The demon ancestor waved his hand, with a proud smile on his lips. The demonic energy rose up and turned into symbols, which fell on the page of the book. However, nothing moved on the page. The answer that had just been condensed was directly eliminated. Demon Ancestor was stunned for a moment. Does this mean that he answered wrongly? Damn, shouldn't it? This is just the first question, and you're already slapped in the face? This is too much. The first question was wrong, you are too weak. Demonic Evil Corpse looked at Demon Ancestor with disdain. The Heavenly Demon King, who was carefully copying the answer, also felt a little, this Demon Ancestor seemed unreliable. Demon Ancestor suddenly became a little angry and said, "I will come back to the first question in a while, and I will answer the following questions for you to see." As he spoke, he moved very quickly and began to demonstrate the answers to the following questions. In one breath, he circulated his demonic energy and demonstrated the answers to 20 questions at the same time. The demonic energy rises and turns into endless graphics and runes, rich in mystery and unpredictable, directly covering the surrounding space. Lord Demon Ancestor, that's awesome. Seeing this scene, the Demon King was shocked and dazzled. He concentrated on it, for fear of missing some details. Even if you memorize by rote, you still have to write down the answers. Even Ge Qianming and the other three were very surprised. Demon Ancestor is indeed a powerful man who was once famous in the Grey Mist Sea. Although he is blocked in the realm of seeing ghosts, this kind of demon is still invincible. Can he really be able to solve so many questions? Too powerful, I think Demon Ancestor should not be underestimated. If he had not missed the Golden Age, now, I am afraid he would still be able to stand on the top of the Grey Mist Sea. Lu Fei and Yafei couldn't help but speak. Ge Qianming was also very solemn, staring at the ultimate magic book. So what if I get one question wrong? Come and witness the glory of 20 questions and one good question. Demon Ancestor is full of confidence. Boom. Suddenly, a certain page in the ultimate grimoire actually glowed with black light. A stream of demonic secrets instantly flowed into Demon Ancestor's body. He successfully solved that question, so he got the idea for the corresponding question. It's really solved. Extraordinary, Demon Ancestor cannot be underestimated. Everyone was surprised. How is it? Ha ha ha, I will know if I take action or not. Demon Ancestor expanded instantly. However, the evil corpse suddenly said, "But, it seems you only got one question right." The Demon Ancestor was startled when he heard this. He looked down. On other pages, his answers all have been eliminated. The Demon Lord was immediately dumbfounded. Wipe. 20 questions. Actually, only one question was correct? What the hell is this? At this moment, he felt like, he couldn't hold it anymore, he really couldn't hold it anymore. The Demon King was also a little confused. He worked hard and remembered that he was sweating profusely. In the end, he got one question right. Ge Qianming and others also breathed a sigh of relief. If Demon Ancestor really answered everything, they would simply doubt their life. It's normal to make so many mistakes. There's something wrong with this question. My answer can't be wrong. Demon Ancestor was quibbling. Stop quibbling and do the rest of the questions quickly, Shina. The evil corpse spoke. Demon Ancestor's face was filled with shame and anger. This question must be wrong. As he spoke, he simply evolved the remaining dozens of questions together. The Demon King hesitated for a moment, then gritted his teeth and continued to copy. Although the accuracy rate is very low, at least it still exists. Let him do it by himself, he really doesn't know how to do it. There are 29 questions left. During the evolution, the magic runes once again filled the field, with a breathtaking aura. This time, Demon Ancestor's accuracy rate was astonishing, doubling directly, and he got 2 questions correct. I won't answer it anymore, this question is just wrong, it's just wrong. Demon Ancestor's face was completely lost. Although I have gained 2 more pages of the secret method of supreme magic, this accuracy rate is really too shameless to see anyone. Oh wow. Q. Remarks from Geixen. These characters were made by the cat. When I was writing the article, the cat insisted on playing on the keyboard. I decided not to delete the article written by a child. Bang. The Demon King was extremely tired at this moment. He felt very aggrieved and wanted to say, if he had known earlier, he would have just memorized the answers to the 3 questions. After all, the demon pattern evolved by the demon ancestor is very profound. Just copying the answers, he has to do his best. I was so tired that I was sweating profusely. After all, I paid by mistake. Beside them, Ji Qianming and others looked extremely shocked and did not dare to look down upon him. This ultimate grimoire, if I remember correctly, many of the most powerful demons in the Grey Mist Sea have only been able to solve a few problems after studying for tens of thousands of years. Yafi, I murmured, he solved 3 paths in such a short period of time. Ji Qianming said solemnly. This kind of person really wants to go back to the Grey Mist Sea. No one can suppress him. He will definitely take off. But Demon Fierce Evil Corpse said disdainfully. Look at you, you only answered 3 questions. It's so embarrassing. When the demon ancestor heard this, he became angry and said. Okay, you go. I'm waiting to see you get it all wrong. The evil spirit also stepped forward. She raised her hand and said. Watch it. Then, she quickly evolved into the demonic chi diagram. The Demon King next to him was all stunned, because the evil corpse was even more cruel, and 50 questions evolved together. He felt that his consciousness was not enough and he was about to collapse from exhaustion. However, no matter how tired I am, I can only grit my teeth and continue copying. You must not miss anything. If you miss even one, you will suffer a big loss. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 886. The demonic evil corpse raised her hand, and the demonic energy circulated crazily. Many profound true shapes evolved around her body, with runes all over the place and demonic light flowing. She is like a demon lord, controlling all ups and downs. Ji Qianming and others' expressions changed slightly. This demonic evil corpse demonic energy, was only slightly weaker than the demon ancestor. However, the true form diagram of the demon path she showed was equally profound, and the rune imprint of the avenue was even more complicated than what the demon ancestor had shown just now. Boom! There was a soft roar of the avenue, and mysterious demonic runes suddenly appeared on a page of the book, flowing into the corpse of Moziuxi. She solved a problem. Immediately afterwards, several more runes emerged from the page. The second course. The third way. The fourth way. 5 ways in total. The 5 ultimate questions of the devil were solved by the evil corpse. The rest faded sadly and remained unresolved. The 5 paths actually solved the 5 paths. Yafi stared at the evil corpse with shock in his eyes. In the Grey Fog Sea, so many magic masters worked together, but it is said that they could not solve more than 10 problems. The demon ancestor was able to unlock 3 paths with one person in an instant, and he was already considered a genius. But the devil, actually unlocked the 5 paths. Does this mean that her talent is actually stronger than the demon ancestor? Fortunately she has fallen into the pre-white mist era. Lu Fei couldn't help but murmured. He suddenly felt a sense of joy and said, if she had lived and grown up to this day, the other side of the grey mist sea would be afraid of her. Moreover, if the devil is like this, what about the 10 deities with the same name as her? What about the bloody evil? The true ancestor world of that era was filled with outstanding people. It's only the 5th path. Mo Xiu Xiaji curled her lips at this moment. She looked unsatisfied and said, I died too early back then, and I didn't have time to think about many things, otherwise, these questions wouldn't be difficult at all. As she spoke, she looked at Demon Ancestor and said, how's it going? Do you accept it? Demon Ancestor's eyes were a little complicated, but he still said firmly, you just have better luck. You got 2 more questions from me. What's the big deal? Mo Xiu Xiaji said, oh, but 1 more question is too many. You are just such a scumbag. When the demon ancestor heard this, he simply didn't want to speak. As for Ji Qianming, there was a sneer in his eyes at this moment, and he immediately said, Lord Demon Ancestor, now you can make a decision. Only when you return to the Grey Mist Sea can you find more answers to your questions. The demon ancestor heard this and said, return. What if I don't want to? He is unwilling to return to the Grey Mist Sea? Suddenly, the expressions of Ji Qianming and the others turned cold. Lu Fei and Yafei both made a gesture quietly. At this moment, in 2 top-secret spaces. This guy, Demon Ancestor, wants to rebel? Now there's something to play with, Demon Ancestor and I can fight against Chi Ancestor alone, and we're sure to win. Blood Ancestor whispered. The other side. The Demon Ancestor will be in front for a while. I'll take advantage of them not paying attention and beat the Blood Ancestor to death. Chi Ancestor Meng Nan also spoke. In the pavilion. Demon Ancestor is very calm. But Ji Qianming said coldly. Lord Demon Ancestor, after reading the ultimate grimoire, you still don't want to go back. Demon Ancestor said. What are you doing back? He said casually. I've eaten all the ancestors of your families, do you want to go back and let those old guys chase you? Do you think I'm stupid? Ji Qianming's eyes turned completely cold and he said. It seems, Your Excellency, you are going to drink a toast and not eat it. Is it a penalty drink? Do you think this ultimate grimoire can be read casually? He suddenly raised his eyes and uttered a string of difficult and ancient spells in his mouth. Moment. Demon Ancestor's expression suddenly changed. At this moment, he actually felt that there was a terrifying death mist in his mind. In the mist, there seemed to be a ghost seeking life. It directly threatened his spiritual platform. There's something wrong with this grimoire. He whispered. Good. Ji Qianming sneered and said. The magic cultivator who wrote the ultimate grimoire, died because he was thinking hard about these 100 questions. When he was dying, he didn't think clearly, so he developed a spirit of obsession and resentment. This spirit of obsession and resentment was also attached to this grim book. As long as you understand the questions in this grim book, you will be invisibly possessed by his resentful spirit. At this moment, Ji Qianming's respectful expression was completely gone. Even when facing Demon Ancestor and Demon Fierce, his face showed a hint of ridicule, saying, At this moment, the resentful spirit has awakened. As long as I give an order, the resentful spirit will go into a rage and directly destroy your sea of consciousness. When the time comes, you will become complete lunatics. He was extremely proud and said, If you return to the Grey Mist Sea, you may die, or you may not. But if you refuse, now, you will taste the consequences. You can choose. Even Lu Fei and Yafei couldn't help being surprised at this moment. This grimoire, not even they knew about it before. Ji Jianming kept it secret and didn't tell anyone. Demon Ancestor was silent at this moment. He thought for a long time, sighed, and said, "If I'm not wrong, if you want to get rid of this obsession, you must solve all these problems." Ji Jianming said, "It is true. Obsession arises from the ultimate question of the devil's path. If the ultimate question is solved, the obsession and resentment of the great cultivator of the devil's path will naturally dissipate. I have to admit that you are very talented. If I give you the world, you might be able to solve everything. But it's a pity that no one can solve all these 100 ultimate questions now, and no one can save you." He is very determined and confident. The realm of the demon master was even higher than that of the demon ancestor, and he had broken through the four views. His obsession with the wronged soul was no small matter, not to mention that it had now invaded the demon ancestor's sea of consciousness. Even though demon ancestor is invincible in talent, he can only be controlled by him. Secretly. Damn it, it's over for demon ancestor. He must have no choice but to admit defeat. The blood ancestor was a little panicked. Now, would he have to fight 1 against 2 again? He actually plotted against the demon ancestor. What a damn dog, you ask me to fight 2 of you. Isn't it too much to force someone into trouble? Chiziu also scratched his head, feeling that his head was getting bigger. Next to him, the big yellow dog had gloomy dog eyes and said, "Add money. 250. Chiziu gritted his teeth and said, "Then I'll hold on a little longer." In the pavilion, Mo Xiu had a little helplessness on his face at this moment and said, "You'd better agree to them and go back to the Grey Mist Sea. Before going back, can we destroy the true ancestor realm?" Demon ancestor smiled bitterly and said, "My ancestor even ate the ancestor of the 1,000-headed grey pigeon clan. I didn't expect that one of his descendants would be deceived." He spread his hands and said, "No wonder I broke my promise. Surrender." He gave in happily. Ji Jianming also smiled instantly and said, "Very good. You made the right decision. It's not a shame for you to admit defeat in front of these 100 ultimate questions that no one can solve." However, as soon as he finished speaking, a childish voice came. "The ultimate question that no one can solve? Do you think I'm not a human being?" Hearing this, everyone turned around in unison. I saw a group of young people walking out of the magic light barrier from the other side. A radiant, mature, beautiful woman, a bookish little girl standing with her hands behind her back, a fat man, and a big yellow dog. Ji Kink and Ji Taixuan followed closely behind. But at this moment, everyone's eyes fell on the little girl. Because, she and the evil corpse in the pavilion, they are exactly the same. Good night. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 887. Everyone was surprised when they saw this group of people. What, they actually walked out of the realm of deprivation in the ultimate grimoire? Yafei was surprised. In the realm of deprivation of the ultimate grimoire, all living beings enveloped will have their most precious body parts extracted, and no one can resist. Even the Spirit King and the one who opened the door were unable to resist. But, these people, actually seem to be unscathed. Hey, why does the big yellow dog next to the fat man look exactly like Senior Chiziu's? Lu Fei was surprised and suspicious. He hated dogs deeply, so he focused all his attention on dogs. Ji Jianming, on the other hand, stared at Zinning in surprise. This little girl, actually looks exactly like Mog. However, the evil spirit has been infected by the grey mist, so it looks a bit strange, and its skin is gray. However, it has a rosy complexion, fair skin, and big, watery eyes. The two have completely different temperaments. Who are you? He stared at Xuanhuan and spoke in a deep voice. Xuanhuan said. Me? I'm someone who loves reading. As she said that, she walked over and looked at Demon Ancestor, Demon Fierce, and Heavenly Demon King, and said. Only a few answers to such a simple question. With an undisguised look of disgust on her little face, she said. You are so poor at studying. It's okay to forget about your poor studies, but we worked together to come up with answers, one dared to write, one dared to believe, and one dared to copy. Who gave you three the confidence? Hearing this, the three demon ancestors all looked very ugly. Although Demon Ancestor felt a little angry, his eyes were very solemn and he said. You, the reincarnation of the devil. The evil spirit is reincarnated. Hearing these words, Ge Qianming and others were instantly shocked. The devil, actually reincarnated? How can this be? Isn't the evil spirit completely dead and refined into an evil corpse? They all looked at each other with a hint of ominous premonition in their hearts. They had just witnessed Mo11's talent. Even if he was placed in the sea of grey mist, he was enough to look down upon the world. Her reincarnation. I'm afraid it will become a big worry for Grey Mist Sea. It must not be taken lightly. At this moment, Mo Xiuxiaji looked at Xuanhuan and suddenly rubbed his eyes and said. Did I read that correctly? You, are me who was reborn in this life as time went by. Xuanhuan nodded and said. Yes, you died completely, but you were reincarnated again, and it's me. At this moment, Mo Xiu had a flash of confusion in his eyes and said. I am already dead, who can make me reborn? No, they are all dead, even he is lost. She raised her eyes, looked at Xuanhuan with determination, and said. You, are my afterimage and obsession. The so-called reincarnation is simply nonsense. Xuanhuan sighed and said. Although you were my previous life, but I really don't want to talk to a scumbag like you. I must have been stupid in my previous life, right? After hearing this, the devil immediately became angry and said. Do you think you're smart? Xuanhuan blinked, nodded, and said. A little smarter than you. With that said, she walked up to Demon Ancestor and Demon Fierce and waved towards the ultimate grimoire. The ultimate grimoire immediately fell into her hands. These questions are too easy, I didn't want to do them. It's such a waste of time. Xuanhuan shook her head and said. But, to let you know that you are stupid, I will do it for you. She wants to solve the problem. Seeing this, Ge Qianming was instantly overjoyed. He was still worried, but the evil spirit was reborn. This was so weird that he was very scared. But now, this reincarnated devil actually wants to solve the problems in the ultimate grimoire? This is asking for death. Even Demon Ancestor and Demon Fierce can only solve a few questions, so what can this reincarnated Demon Fierce do? It just so happened that when she was solving the problem, the obsessive spirit of the Demon Master would also invade the sea of consciousness and completely control her. When the time comes, I can reincarnate as a demon and bring the evil spirit back to the sea of grey mist. This is a great achievement. At this moment, he was ecstatic. However, he remained calm on his face, and quietly made a gesture to Lu Fei and Yafei, telling them to calm down, not to scare the snake, and let the reincarnated evil murderer concentrate on doing the questions. Suddenly, the pavilion became quiet. You are still so arrogant after being reincarnated. In your previous life, you could only do 5 questions, come on, do it and see. Demon Ancestor spoke. Mo Xiu also looked at Xuanhuan, thoughtfully. But Xuanhuan directly opened the ultimate magic book. She raised her hand and circulated the magic aura to construct a true diagram of the magic way. Hey, wait a minute. However, Demon Ancestor spoke and said. You just go ahead and write? Why don't you think about it and make a draft? He and Mo11 just thought about it first and pondered hard for a long time before they dared to write it. Xuanhuan said. Such a simple question, you don't have to think about it. Demon Ancestor. The corner of his mouth twitched, and he felt his heart was filled with panic. He turned to look at Mog and said with a complicated expression. Your reincarnation deserves a beating. The devil was silent for a moment and then said. I really want to hit her too. But Xuanhuan, the demonic energy has already formed a true picture. Her true form diagram is extremely concise, far less complicated and unfathomable than the complicated and unfathomable magic patterns shown in the answers to the evolution of Demon Ancestor and Demon Fierce just now. The reincarnation of evil spirits doesn't seem to work. Forget it, such a simple answer is definitely not very reliable. The Demon King couldn't help but mutter, but didn't copy it. Demon Ancestor also said. That's it? You still dare to mock me, look at yourself. However, before he finished speaking, a magic rune appeared on the first page of the grimoire. Boom! The magic runes gathered directly towards Xuanhuan. Seeing this scene, Demon Ancestor was immediately stunned. What? First question. The answer to the reincarnated evil spirit has been revealed? Impossible, how can this answer be so simple? He felt very unreliable. I have just evolved such a profound demonic path, and my true form is perfect. Will not work. Now, just 2 random reincarnations of evil spirits are correct? Demonic Evil Corpse was also startled for a moment, but immediately said. She was blinded. Demon Ancestor said, yes, she must have been the one who fooled me. Can't believe it. Next to him, the Demon King suddenly slapped his thigh, and his intestines turned green with regret. Damn it, I missed the answer to a question, I forgot to copy it. You must know that the magic thoughts on every page are extremely valuable. However, at this moment, Xuanhuan waved her hand, and the magic runes flowing out of the pages of the magic book were actually slapped aside by her. You want me to remember such low-level knowledge? She was very disdainful of the secrets of the devil in the pages of the devil's book, and suddenly raised her hand and pointed at the Demon King. The magic runes immediately flowed towards the Demon King. You are stupid, this knowledge is more suitable for you. As for the Demon King, he felt the magic runes entering his brain, and he suddenly became excited. This is clearly a supreme insight into the devil. Beyond the road level. It should be noted that this kind of thing is extremely precious. If word spreads, it will cause huge waves. Even the ultimate in the world's sacrifice temple will have to fight for it. And now, I actually got an article so easily. This is my own great opportunity. At this moment, he suddenly felt that he was, a fool is blessed. He suddenly said excitedly. You are right, I am a big idiot, hopelessly stupid, and terminally ill, please, give me all this rubbish knowledge. He immediately knelt down to Xuanhuan. I am the returning cat, and while he was sleeping, I tried my best to send out his only saved manuscript. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 888. Everyone in the pavilion had complicated expressions. They all didn't expect that Xuanhuan would solve the first question easily. The blind cat caught the dead mouse. Demon Ancestor was very unconvinced. The main thing is that you can't admit defeat. Wouldn't it be too shameful to admit that such a little girl is smarter than yourself? Xuanhuan and others also looked a little solemn at this moment. She looks very strong. Yafei spoke with some uncertainty. Xuanhuan looked calm and said. It doesn't matter. As soon as the evil spirit reincarnates and starts answering questions, everything is doomed. She can only be controlled by herself. Xuanhuan, on the other hand, was very indifferent, and she turned to the second page. Just like before, she started writing the answer directly without thinking at all. Similarly, the constructed true shape diagram of the magic path is also very simple. This time, no one spoke, even the demon ancestor held back. The main reason was that the slap in the face just now happened too quickly, and he learned wisely. Wait until you are sure that Xuanhuan has failed before you start taunting. However, the thought in his mind had not dissipated before he saw another top-secret rune of magic rising from the second page of the magic book. The second question. Correct answer 2. This time, everyone's expressions became more solemn. Could it be that Xuanhuan is really so strong that she can answer the ultimate question of the devil's path easily? Similarly, Xuanhuan threw these demonic runes to the Demon King. She looked down upon these low-level knowledge at all. The Demon King was excited again. It was the secret method of the Supreme Devil again. I am just making money. Thank you, thank you. My benefactor. He was so grateful to Xuanhuan. Immediately afterwards, Xuanhuan began to write the third question. Question 4. All right. Correct 4 questions in a row. At this moment, everyone's expressions were extremely solemn. If getting 1 question right is luck, getting 2 questions right is luck. Then answer 4 questions in a row. Definitely, real strength. She has surpassed the demon ancestor. This girl must not be kept. Once she grows up, I am afraid she will be a serious problem for Grey Mist's. Lu Fei whispered, with fear in his eyes. He is worthy of being the reincarnation of a demon, with extraordinary talent. Yafei also murmured. Ge Qinming's eyes became more and more solemn, but he still remained calm. Being able to answer 4 questions is indeed very powerful, but is it useful? Unless you solve all 100 questions. Otherwise, the reincarnation of the evil spirit will still be controlled by himself. Next, Xuanhuan is extremely fast. Question 5. Question 7. Question 9. All the way through the levels, as smooth as silk. Those questions that even Demon Ancestor Demon G couldn't answer correctly after thinking hard seemed to have no difficulty in front of her. As Xuanhuan solved the problem, everyone in the pavilion seemed to be holding their breath. Break 9 questions in a row. At this moment, everyone had an inexplicable feeling. Could this little girl? Can you really crack it all the way? Brother Ge. Lu Fei and Lu Fei couldn't help but look at Ge Qianming. And Ge Qianming was a little uneasy at the moment. This evil reincarnation was too cruel. Breaking 9 questions in a row, this kind of achievement will cause huge waves if it spreads to the Grey Mist Sea. I have never seen such a gifted demon cultivator in the Sea of Fog. My benefactor is so amazing. At this moment, the Demon King could only worship. It looked at Xuanhuan in awe. He has obtained 9 pages of secrets in a row. While everyone was shocked, Xining finally started to solve the 10th question. Ha ha ha, you are finally wrong. Suddenly, Demon Ancestor burst out laughing. The answer is not like you at all, you are wrong. You were finally wrong. He was dancing with joy. Previously, Demon Ancestor had solved 3 questions in total. The 10th path is one of them. At that time, the true form diagram constructed by the Demon Ancestor was mysterious, complex, and difficult to figure out, and contained the unfathomable true meaning of the demonic way. On the contrary, the true shape diagram given by Xuanhuan is still very simple, with only a few magic runes present. The benefactor was wrong. The heavenly Demon King was startled for a moment. He had just copied the answer, so he remembered that Demon Ancestor's answer was indeed different from what Xining felt at this moment. She was finally wrong. Lu Fei and others were actually a little happy at this moment and felt lucky. Xianming's failure all the way caused psychological pressure on them. Ji Qianming breathed a sigh of relief unconsciously, and he was also a little nervous. You still say I'm stupid, you're not smart either. Demonic evil corpse also spoke, as if spitting out a breath of evil breath. Little sister, come on, call me teacher or senior, and I will teach you how to solve this problem. How about that? Demon ancestor couldn't help but speak loudly, feeling elated. Just now, watching Xianming solve the problem all the way, he was so shocked that he couldn't speak. He felt extremely aggrieved, ashamed, and helpless. But, now the other party is finally wrong. Even though Xianming solved 9 questions and he only solved 5, as long as he thought about the questions he solved that Xianming couldn't solve, he felt inexplicably more confident. However, Xining tilted her head slightly, looked at Demon Ancestor, and said, "You are so thick-skinned. A problem that can be solved in 3 steps, but you still have to go through more than 2,000 steps, are you so plausible?" As she said that, she looked at the demonic evil corpse again and said, "And you, just be stupid. Stop talking. Otherwise, you will look very stupid in my previous life, which will embarrass me." After speaking, she didn't even raise her head, and the rune structure took the 3rd step. Boom! The pages of the book clicked softly. In an instant, another top-secret magic rune leaked out. The 10th question, solved. Suddenly, Demon Ancestor was dumbfounded. Is this okay? He couldn't help but wipe his eyes. He was not dazzled. This question actually makes me feel at ease. It can be solved in 3 steps. At this moment, he felt a tightness in his chest and wanted to vomit blood. Grass. It took me more than 2,000 steps to solve the problem, but this little girl completed it in 3 steps? This kind of comparison made him feel depressed. This kind of insult was simply more intense than when he couldn't figure it out. I did figure it out, but now it seems that I have only proved how stupid I am and how smart this little girl is. Thinking that just now, I was so arrogant and wanted Xianming to call me teacher or senior. He just wanted to find a crack in the ground and burrow down. It was so embarrassing. The demonic evil corpse also fell silent, completely silent. She didn't want to talk anymore. The reincarnated person is actually smarter than me? Better than yourself? So much more powerful. This feeling is also too depressing. Of course, this is the moment. Boom. The ultimate magic book seemed to be awakened by some mystery. Endless magic rules flowed out from the ultimate magic book and filled the entire pavilion. At this moment, it was like a world that was both imaginary and real, replacing the space where the pavilion was originally located. This, Brother Ge, what's going on? Lu Fei and others were shocked. Ge Qinming's expression also changed drastically. He didn't know what was going on, the ultimate magic book had never been triggered before. Could it be that she solved 10 questions in a row and awakened the Dao Jingdi of the evil cultivator? The Taoist scenery of that demonic Dao cultivator has reappeared. Ge Qianming guessed, confused. This is just a legend. According to rumors, this ultimate magic book is made of the human skin, real bones, etc. of that evil cultivator. Therefore, it not only retains his obsession and resentment, but also contains his Taoist scenery. However, there are many people infected by his resentful spirit, but no one has been able to successfully open his Taoist scenery. Now, because of the incredible performance of the demon fierce evil corpse, is it open? Probably. At the same time, as this illusory world descended, everyone around them felt a sense of rejection and could not enter. Only peace of mind. She held the ultimate grimoire in her hand, surrounded by countless demonic principles, and beneath her feet seemed to be a mysterious land filled with chaos and mist. She is like a devil who holds the truth. And at this moment, demonic evil corpse suddenly spoke. Let me in, I have something to tell you secretly. Xuanhuan glanced at Mog and raised her hand slightly. Suddenly, the evil corpse was also shrouded in the Dao scenery. Hey, 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 where's the rest of me? There's still me. When Demon Ancestor saw this, he was also anxious. This is a Taoist landscape left over from a generation of demonic cultivators. If you can enter it, it will be of great benefit. However, that piece of Taoist scenery is instantly illusory, elusive, and inaccessible. It is clearly right in front of you, but no one can see the scene clearly, as if there is a chasm between reality and illusion. The manuscript secretly sent to Geixen was discovered. Geixen was angry and the freeze-drying was detained. He said that I should write the update myself, otherwise he would not let me eat. Meow, 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 there is still one chapter left before I can eat freeze-dried food. The great demon king of homecoming is so hateful, meow. I'm going to continue writing. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 889. The Dao cultivator who wrote the ultimate grimoire awakened the Taoist scenery left behind, and the reincarnated evil spirits and evil corpses both entered it. For the rest, no one can enter, they can only wait. Brother Ge, this won't cause any accidents, right? Lu Fei was a little worried. This sudden change was completely outside their plan. Yes, the reincarnated demon evil and the evil corpse should not be underestimated. If they enter the Dao scenery where the demon is undergoing major cultivation, if they get some unparalleled opportunity. Yafi was worried and said. Do you want? Ge Kinming's face was extremely gloomy, and he thought for a long time. Be patient and don't be impatient. Finally, he spoke, his eyes cold and said. Although the devil's Dao cultivator has died, the ghost he worshipped is still sleeping in the Dao scenery. Neither the reincarnated demons nor the evil demons know the method of worshipping ghosts, entering the Taoist scenery is asking for death. He is very calm. Why can the grey mist sea emerge from the great turmoil, realize the leap to the golden age, and continue all the ways? It's just because of the method of worshipping ghosts. As for the method of worshipping ghosts, the true ancestor realm has no idea about it. What if the evil spirit enters the Taoist scenery? Very likely to die directly. Moreover, even if they can come out alive, so what? Anyway, I have two trump cards, the artifact ancestor and the blood ancestor, as well as a few real bones that can contact the other side of the grey mist sea. It can be said that I am invincible. Fear nothing. When Lu Fei and Yafi heard this, they couldn't help but nodded and relaxed. Demon Lord. On the other side, there was a hint of worry in Gong Yame's eyes. Damn dog, Xuanhuan went in, are you okay? Wu Date couldn't help but speak. The big yellow dog looked at the ethereal Taoist scenery. The dog's eyes were extremely solemn and he murmured. There's something wrong with this evil corpse, something's wrong. How do you feel, so awake? It thought for a while but couldn't figure out the answer. Wow, don't care. It simply stopped thinking about it, sniffed slightly with its nose, looked at something with its dog eyes, seemed a little excited, and said. The Emperor's Dao fruit has been found. At the same time, it looked towards a hidden place in the void. Is this your true form? Just as treacherous as you. Kizumenon looked at the big yellow dog beside the pavilion, but he couldn't help rubbing his hands and said excitedly. It seems that your main body is a good material for refining weapons. If you don't give me all the bones of your main body, I will fight whoever you want to deal with. How about it? He looked at the big yellow dog next to him. But this big yellow dog was angry at this moment and said. Wow, you can't be a human being. What kind of dog do you think I am? That's my main body. Can I sell it casually? Chi ancestor tried. How about that fat man's stone statue, plus these 3 little shrimps, and a human head with 4 gray mist creatures? The big yellow dog said. Deal. Sold. When Chi Xiu heard this, he was startled. Why did he feel like he had paid too much? Now, in a Taoist landscape that is both imaginary and real, chaos and mist filled the air, making this desolate and broken Taoist landscape look deep and gloomy. The road to the broken rules of magic is full of pits and intermittents. 2 little girls came one after another from the road. What whisper? Tell me the story. Xuanhuan walked in front, standing with his hands behind his back. Although he was very immature, he had an invincible air. At this moment, she vaguely seemed to have regained the supreme grace of the demon lord in the past. Behind her, the evil corpse exuded a hint of terrifying power. He looked at Xuanhuan and said, "You don't believe that you are my reincarnation. Reincarnation has been cut off. I saw with my own eyes that the Lord of Reincarnation, who followed him to quell the chaos, couldn't keep up with him and fell in the darkness. His body was cold and floating. The road to reincarnation was cut off. How could he return? Is there this life?" Xuanhuan said. "He. Who are you talking about?" In the cold and heartless eyes of the devil, a touch of emotion suddenly appeared at this moment, as if he was reminiscing, as if he was feeling sentimental, and said, "None of your business." Xuanhuan walked forward, kicking away the broken magic rules and said casually, "You, like Qinzun, Swordzun, and Wuzun, saw that the one who was sinking into darkness has died, and the current world was just a big dream for him, and everything has been extinct, right?" Demon Lord Evil Corpse said. "No. He won't die. He just fell asleep and needed someone to wake him up." The evil corpse seemed to be in a very low mood. She raised her eyes and looked at Xuanhuan and said, "I am an evil corpse. My consciousness is dominated by something that makes me want to kill you. But, I can sense all of this. My evil thoughts come from that kind of thing. In my heart, I actually don't want to kill you." Hearing this, Xuanhuan felt a little confused and said, "Why are you still so conscious after becoming an evil corpse? Is this still an evil corpse?" The evil corpse shook his head and said, "This is a secret between me and my big brother." "Big brother?" Xuanhuan was startled. "Is this the same person you're talking about as the demonic evil corpse?" Xuanhuan seemed to understand that there was some secret between her previous life and that person. And this secret allowed the devil to remain awake even if he died and turned into an evil corpse. "Do one thing for me." The evil corpse spoke. Xuanhuan said, "What's up?" The devil said, "Go out, pick some kind people from the true ancestor realm, take them away, and leave the seeds for reproduction." Xuanhuan raised her eyebrows and looked at her. The devil said, "I will destroy the true ancestor realm, and then use the blood of all the creatures in the true ancestor realm to water the sea of consciousness of the demon ancestor outside." Xuanhuan frowned slightly and said, "You did this to awaken that person?" The devil said, "It's none of your business." Zinning was silent for a long time and said, "He doesn't need your help. He is not dead, nor is he lost. In this life, we are picked up by him from the long river of cause and effect." The devil shook his head and said, "I only believe what I see with my own eyes. I don't want the entire true ancestor realm to be destroyed. I hope to leave some seeds. If you don't help me, I can only kill everyone." She said, and beside her, suddenly there was a misty land that was as illusory as it was real, slowly descending. That is, her own Taoist scenery. She opened her own Tao scenery in the Tao scenery of this demon master. "If my Taoist scenery invades this place, this Taoist scenery will be forced out of the underworld and come to the world. When this world comes to light, Daojing will be defeated by the power of reality, triggering an explosion of virtual reality. The power of the explosion of the Dao scenery of the 4th level demon cultivator, is enough to destroy the entire true ancestor realm. She spoke word by word, staring at Xuanhuan, and said, "Leave quickly and take away some seeds of kindness. Otherwise, you will die too." But, right now, deep in the Taoist landscape, a ferocious and hoarse voice sounded in an insidious tone. "You are all going to die." In an instant, at the end of the broken demon road, there was endless ghost mist, pouring over like a tide. In the ghost mist, a ferocious ghost face could be vaguely seen. "Meow, finally finished. It's really tiring to write. My cat's paws are hurting. No wonder Geixen is so tired every day. He has to think about plots, code, go to work, and often work overtime every day. He is really tired every day, but what does it have to do with me, a little kitten? Let him come back and write tomorrow, meow. Meow An. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 890. Shocking change. From the depths of the demon Dao cultivation landscape, billowing ghost fog actually appeared. A terrifying ghost, with endless power, attacked instantly. No. What the hell is this? Xuanhuan frowned. This kind of ghost looks completely different from the ghosts she saw in the human world. The ghosts in the world are more like the souls of cultivators who persisted after death. However, the ghosts in the Dao scenery seem to be born at the same time as the Dao. They are strange and unpredictable and cannot be compared to the same. Ghosts that escape from reincarnation are also called dead souls. The devil opened his mouth and said, "The Lord of Reincarnation has died, and the power of reincarnation has dissipated. The dead souls left behind by those cultivators who realized the great Dao but eventually died have nowhere to go, so they can only enter the Dao scenery and cause trouble in the world. Reincarnation is cut off, 100 ghosts walk at night, and the world is in catastrophe. This is it." She told a big secret. Taoist scenery is similar to reincarnation, lying between reality and reality. Therefore, if the ghosts and dead souls that have entered reincarnation cannot be reincarnated and become lonely ghosts, they will be scattered in the Taoist scenery of the world. This is the direct cause of the great turmoil that year. Mog spoke, and after she finished speaking, she stepped forward, stood in front of Xuanhuan, and said, "Move. I will detonate this scenic spot. When the time comes, this dead soul will have nowhere to go. If it falls into the present world, it will be killed by the rules of heaven and earth." Xuanhuan said, "But then, you will die too, right?" Mog suddenly smiled a little at this moment and said, "You still said I was stupid, but you are the stupid one. I would have been dead a long time ago. Go away, live for me. No matter you are my afterimage or obsession, go away. When Big Brother wakes up and sees you, he will think of me. He won't forget me, never." At this moment, the devil actually smiled, as innocent and kind as a child. In his eyes, which were cold as frost and filled with grey fog, there was a touch of warmth that would never fade away. Taking a deep breath, she hid her warmth and kindness, and then said, "Get out of here." After saying that, he suddenly pounced on the approaching dead spirit. At this moment, Demon Fierce was like an unparalleled demon king. Countless terrifying demonic rules appeared all over her body. In her Tao scenery, there was a road of demonic rules extending out, containing the most terrifying demonic power. Bombarded the ghost. With a shocking blow, the entire Demon Deo overhaul Deo scenic area trembled, the Demon Deo rules rolled in, and the mist of chaos surged wildly. However, in the terrifying ghost mist, a terrifying green ghost claw tore through everything and attacked instantly. There was a light yellow ring mark on the green ghost claw, which was instantly eye-catching. The endless demonic path of the devil pressed down, and the green ghost claws were broken every inch. However, the light yellow ring marks on the ghost claws emitted a light yellow light. Boom! The endless demonic rules of the devil were falling all over the sky at this moment, and they were all defeated. Her Taoist scenery was unstable, and she flew backwards, landing dozens of steps away. The Ring of Reincarnation protects the dead souls who go to the land of reincarnation, and is free from all laws and sins in the world. The devil gritted his teeth and was very helpless. After death, successful practitioners of enlightenment will be led to the land of reincarnation. When being brought in, the dead souls will be marked with the mark of reincarnation. After being marked with the mark of reincarnation, the dead souls will no longer be able to linger and cause trouble in the world. At the same time, the dead souls themselves will also be protected by reincarnation, free from all laws and sins. The Lord of Reincarnation is dead and the land of reincarnation is destroyed, but the mark of reincarnation still exists on those dead souls, making them almost invincible. The ghost mist invaded unscrupulously, and the forest green ghost claws approached the devil. "Why haven't you left yet? I'm going to blow up this place." Mog looked at Xuanhuan and was very angry. Xuanhuan walked forward, stood in front of her, and said calmly, "I'm still waiting to hear your secret. If you leave, you won't hear it anymore." The devil said angrily, "You can't hear it even if you're dead." Endless ghost hands have suddenly attacked. However, at this moment, Zinning took out a book. "That's her. 3 years of cultivating demons and 5 years of invincibility." As soon as this book appeared, it instantly exuded a terrifying energy. It's like a forbidden book. Just its appearance is already frightening. It seems to represent the most extreme power in the world. The breath of the devil is flowing. This is a supreme book belonging to the devil. As soon as this book appeared, the terrifying ghost claws stopped instantly, and not even the billowing ghost mist dared to take another step forward. "What's this?" The hoarse voice of the dead sounded, and there seemed to be fear and trembling in the words. "This," Xuanhuan said, "this is a book. Children who love learning like to read books." She blinked and said, "Come, let me teach you how to read. These are essential ancient poems for the devil. Every poem is very important." After saying that, she turned to the first page. Then, a clear and tender voice began to read. "Chi-Chi, a gangster, embraces cloth and trades silk. Bandits come to trade silk, and they come to seek my help." She is reading poetry. Word by word, the characters in this book glowed with terrifying light as she read them. Every word seems to be powerful enough to crush eternity. "No." In the ghost mist, the deceased spirit screamed in surprise and hissed, "Shut up! Shut up! This is a taboo text, how can you declare it in your mouth? Stop! Don't cause big trouble." It was obviously the clear sound of poetry reading, but at this moment it carried the power that could wipe out everything, making it frightened and frightened. Even Demon Fierce was suddenly startled at this moment. She looked at her reincarnation in disbelief. There are too many taboo words involved. Unless it is supreme, it cannot be written. If it is not supreme, it cannot be read. If it is not supreme, it cannot be listened to. Those who disobey will suffer disaster. She murmured. Taboo, for cultivators on the road, these 2 words are not just an abstract expression, but a real forbidden zone. That is a level that ordinary people cannot touch. Things in that realm involve the most supreme avenue, which is extremely terrifying. Especially the forbidden words, if they are not supreme, they will surely die if they watch them. Unless it is supreme and unreadable, readers will be destroyed. If it is not supreme, it cannot be heard, and those who listen will perish. Why do I listen to these supreme words, but no disaster comes to me? Mog murmured, is it because I'm dead? Or? She didn't know what she thought of, but a hopeful and nervous light suddenly flashed in her eyes. No matter how the dead ghosts cried and howled, they still felt peaceful and continued to recite poems. You can still talk about the laziness of a scholar. You can't talk about the laziness of a woman. Another sentence. Stop it, stop it. The dead spirit seemed to be going crazy, desperately driving the ghost mist to flood it, and the ghost claws were trembling. However, the energy revealed by those characters caused the approaching ghost mist to dissipate directly, and the ghost claws broke even an inch closer and turned into powder. If you make a vow, don't think about the opposite. If you don't think about it, on the contrary, that's enough. Zinning is like a good student, reading poems obediently and concentrating. No. The ghost mist curled up into a ball, and the dead spirit finally trembled and begged. Ah, don't read any more, don't read any more. I beg you, don't read any more, my reincarnation ring has disappeared, no. Don't. I saw that in the ghost mist, on the green ghost claws, the circle of reincarnation that symbolized immunity from all laws and sins was actually fading away. The mark of reincarnation can protect the dead soul, but this dead soul has heard forbidden words that transcend the personality of the reincarnation ring. Mog has already understood that what Xuanhuan is reciting at this moment is too high level. Not even the reincarnation ring can protect this ghost. At this moment, Xuanhuan had finished reading the poem. She raised her eyes, looked at the ghost mist in front of her, blinked and said, "Have you learned it? This poem is called Mang. It tells the story of a girl who married a man named Mang. However, the man turned out to be half-hearted and disliked the old. He abandoned her and found a new love. Girls who want to practice magic must read it, because only by reading this poem can they not be trapped by love and pass the demonic test of love." As Xuanhuan explained, she saw a line of small words next to this page of ancient poetry and couldn't help but say, "Well, Big Brother likes this poem very much." He also wrote an annotation under the poem, "I will read it to you." As she spoke, she whispered, "Those who die from drought will die from drought, and those who will die from floods will die from waterlogging." What does Big Brother mean by this sentence? Is it explaining that there are different ways of magic, but everyone will die in the end? She was confused. But, right now. Ah! The terrifying dead spirit let out a scream of destruction originating from its soul, and then it seemed to be wiped away by some supreme power. All the ghostly fog has dissipated. In the Taoist landscape, it was as quiet as death, as if the ferocious dead spirit just now had never existed. So weak. Xuanhuan shook her head and said, "I just finished reading a sentence written by my elder brother, and you died." Behind her, the devil suddenly said, "Actually, the first word you pronounce, it's already dead." Xuanhuan turned around and looked at Mog. But he saw tears streaming down Mog's face, and his eyes were no longer cold and gloomy. Instead, there was an extremely complex emotion. Her eyes were filled with childlike joy and excitement, grievance and sadness. "This is Big Brother's book, the words written by Big Brother. He will not hurt me, never, never. Big Brother is not dead, has he woke up? Does he still remember me?" There were actually crystal tears flowing out of Demon Fierce's eyes. "Damn that damn cat, wasn't it just me who ate 2 freeze-dried pieces of it? He actually took revenge on me and stole my manuscript. When I wake up, my saved manuscript is gone. Can you understand the heartache? I'm furious. I punished it by writing 2 chapters, and it finally let out a bad breath. When I make money, I will give this greedy cat a computer and let it write articles by itself while I play games next to it. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 891. In the Dao scenery where the demonic Dao is being overhauled. The dead souls that escaped from the land of reincarnation have been completely erased, and there is no trace of reality or reality. Mog looked at Xuanhuan with tears streaming down his face. Big brother is not dead. He has woken up, right? His books, his words, will never hurt me. She opened her mouth, and her words were clearly full of excitement. Amid the excitement, there was also a hint of inexplicable sadness. It was as aggrieved as a child who had been away from home for too long and suffered too much and suddenly saw his relatives. Before, she didn't trust Xuanhuan. In her opinion, Xuanhuan was just her obsession and afterimage, and could not be reincarnation. Because, when she set foot on that road, she saw with her own eyes that the Lord of Reincarnation who followed her elder brother fell into the cold darkness, the authority of reincarnation dissipated, and the land of reincarnation was destroyed. A black path even appeared, and she saw her eldest brother, who was submerged in the darkness and lost himself. However, now she is extremely sure that big brother, he should be waking up. The supreme ancient poems that Xuanhuan read just now, and the death of drought, death of floods that transcended taboos, did not make her die. In this world, there are only words written by my elder brother. That's why I will never hurt her. So, how could she not be excited? Xuanhuan looked at Mog, feeling inexplicably sad in her heart. She knelt down and gently wiped Mog's tears. Big brother is not dead. He is back and picked me up from the long river of cause and effect, as well as Yinzun, Jianzun, Wuzun, we are all back. She whispered, handed the book of 3 years of demon cultivation and 5 years of invincibility to Mog, and said, "Look, this is the book my eldest brother gave me. He taught me reading, literacy, poetry, and gave me many books." As Mog listened, his little hands trembled a little and he opened the book. The book contains ancient poems. The devil must memorize ancient poems. There are traces of written notes on many pages. Mog stared at those annotations, with infinite memories and warmth in his eyes. It's eldest brother's handwriting. My eldest brother made an agreement with me that when he comes back, he will teach me how to read and write, give me the best books in the world to read, let me learn the best knowledge and read the best stories. He came back and did it. Mog murmured. She smiled, with tears in her smile, raised her eyes to look at Xuanhuan, and said, "I am a born invincible demon body, immortal and immortal. From the moment I was born, I have been burdened with the destiny of the demon clan. There is no choice in destiny. I have been fighting and fighting all my life. I have been stained with countless blood and killed countless enemies. Everyone in the world says that I am a demon, they hate me, are afraid of me, and hate me to the core. But actually, I don't like blood at all. When no one is around, I especially like to go fishing, collect honey, and catch loaches. I once raised many small goldfish. Once, I found an injured deer. When I chased and rescued it, I met my big brother." A sweet smile appeared on the corner of her mouth and she said, "At that time, the eldest brother lived in seclusion in a mountain. He planted a lot of vegetables, raised a lot of chickens, and a lot of fish. He liked to dance, write poems and lyrics. I thought he was an ordinary person. I caught the little deer, but I don't know how to treat it at all. If I use the magic power to save it, the little deer will also turn into a magic deer." At this time, the big brother appeared. He used a lot of herbs and bandaged the little deer. "Stand up." He asked me where I came from, and I was afraid of telling him my true identity and scaring him, so I lied to him and said I was a homeless child. No one ever regarded me as a normal person, and no one would smile at me, but that day, he smiled and touched my head and told me that if I had nowhere to go, I could stay. He took me in and let me help him grow vegetables, raise chickens, and fish in the yard. Moshiu's eyes were full of happiness and he said, "I planted a piece of radish. When the radish grew, I pulled it out and made soup. It was delicious. I raised those little fish so big, my eldest brother said they could be used to make fish soup, but I couldn't bear to part with them. My eldest brother has never eaten fish. By the way, the chickens I raised for my elder brother laid eggs and hatched chicks. I saw the scene of the chicks breaking out of the shell for the first time. I was so happy at the time, I held a cup in my hands excitedly. A little chicken, run to the big brother and tell him that the chicken has hatched." My elder brother told me with a smile that the birth of life is full of difficulties, so it is also worth cherishing. My eldest brother also taught me to read poetry. I actually didn't know those sentences, I didn't even know the words, but I knew that the things in those sentences were so beautiful and beautiful. The more I listened, the more I wanted to hear them. My elder brother also said that there are beautiful worlds in poetry and books. I told my eldest brother that I want to learn poetry. I want to read many, many books and recognize many words like him, and then, I can have those beautiful worlds. My eldest brother did not agree to my promise. He said that he would leave for a while to do some things. If he could come back, he would teach me how to read and write, teach me poetry and songs, and give me all his books. I was really thinking about what I wanted to learn, so I asked my elder brother where he was going and what he wanted to do. I could help him do it, after all, I am a devil. I am so powerful, so I can definitely help him complete it. There was a look of reminiscence on the devil's face, a sweet smile on his lips, but his eyes were filled with tears. My eldest brother told me that he was going to save some lives, just like the chickens, fish, grass, and trees in the yard. Later I found out that he was going to save the whole world. Before my elder brother left, he took out a piece of jade. He told me that the piece of jade could record everything in the world. The jade had already recorded my days in the courtyard. That was my kind side, which made me never forget my own kindness, and he will help me remember mine. He said that people should always remember the deepest kindness in their hearts, which is the beacon that returns when they are lost. I will never forget this sentence. When he left, I wanted to follow him. I was afraid that he would get hurt, and I couldn't let him go, but I found that I couldn't catch up with him. Every step he took, there were many years and distance between him and me. That's when I realized that Big Brother turned out to be super powerful. He is the strongest cultivator I have ever seen. Speaking of this, Mog was slightly silent, with a sad face, and said, "My eldest brother left, so I kept waiting in the small courtyard he left behind. I believed he would definitely come back. He promised me that he would come back to teach me how to read and write, and to teach me poetry and poetry. But I never waited for him again. The great turmoil came, and the pre-white mist era was annihilated. Many people were looking for him, but they couldn't find him. We penetrated the sea of grey fog and pursued the path he took, but we were killed by the black hands on that road. On that road, I saw the scene in the depths of darkness. The eldest brother was lost and he was shrouded in darkness. There is no one around him, he must be so lonely, so lonely. After I died, I did become an evil corpse for a period of time, but later, the demon ancestor came to guard me, and he had a piece of jade in his mind. It's my eldest brother's jade, the jade that records my kind side. So I woke up and got rid of the evil corpse state. I wanted to wake up my big brother. He fell asleep in the depths of darkness. He must be so lonely. The only way I can think of is to use the blood of all the creatures in the true ancestor realm to water the jade that belongs to my elder brother. That jade was once worn by him and has the strongest connection with him. When the blood of all living creatures in the world he protects is poured on the jade he wears, it may wake him up. I know he will be angry when he wakes up, but, I have to do this. After the devil finished speaking, she raised her eyes and looked at Xuanhuan, with tears in her eyes but a sweet smile on her lips, happy and relieved, and said, "This is my secret. Although this chapter is not long, I wrote it over and over again several times. Good night."